Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unposted podcast. If you're new here, my name is Bezler, and this is episode 30. Wow, that's insane. I'm over halfway through the year. It's honestly flown by. I cannot believe I'm at episode 30. To me, I'm like gearing up for the holidays. I'm trying to batch shoot like 4 podcasts today. So just back to back to back. I've been planning this week, and I just kind of want to bust out a bunch so I can still enjoy the holidays, but I have a goal to be consistent with this no matter what. I have died down a little bit with bringing on guests. Everybody's kind of traveling, going out of town. I'm going out of town. Just a lot happening. So you will be seeing a lot more solo episodes this month and bleeding into January. But once January kicks off and we're in the new year, I'm going to be looking for new guests to share their stories. So if you know of anybody, or if you're somebody who has struggled with mental health or has a story that's super inspiring that you feel like would help others, please reach out to me because I'd love to get you on the mic. But anyway, going into today's episode, we are talking about seasonal depression. And, this is a topic that I'm not an expert in, like technical medical terms, I'm not the expert on this topic, but I do know that I've had my own personal experience with seasonal depression. And for a long time, I didn't even know what seasonal depression was, and I didn't even know that was a thing. So if you're like me and you're like, what is seasonal depression? Maybe I have it. Maybe there's a reason why I've been more maybe unmotivated throughout the winter periods, the colder months, that you just realize that you're more sad around this time of the year. It's not just you, it's millions and millions of people around the entire world that struggle with seasonal depression. It's not just something that people come up with that is their excuse for feeling sad. It actually is a real condition that a lot of people struggle with. And I'm just recently, over the last couple of years, realized that it actually is a mental illness and it is a condition that people struggle with. And I'm not just sad, or I'm not just unmotivated. It's a real thing that you actually are diagnosed with, which didn't know it was a real thing until a few years ago. So I just want to talk about it and kind of bring a little bit more awareness to it. And I did research. I have my notes with me on how we can kind of cope with seasonal depression, because I think a lot of people struggle with it and don't know what to do about it or how to make it better. And it's hard, sometimes this time of the year, especially the cold months, it's hard for everybody. So I do have some things here listed out that are ways to cope with seasonal depression. Hopefully, by going through these with you guys, we can both educate ourselves a little bit more. I'm learning. I hope this helps you guys kind of deal with whatever season you're going through mentally in your life. So getting into the first part of this episode, I want to talk about what is seasonal depression. So I looked it up on Google, and this is what I have written up about seasonal depression and the definition, pretty much. So there's a technical term. It's seasonal affective disorder. Okay, so it's called SAD. People say, oh, I have SAD disorder in the wintertime. It's short for seasonal affective disorder. And it's a type of depression tied to changing seasons. I feel like we hear a lot of people moving to, California or Florida or Texas, places that are a little bit warmer for people that do struggle with seasonal depression. I find that a lot of people move to a little bit more warmer climates because the weather and the sunshine does affect seasonal depression. I didn't know that. I literally didn't know that. I grew up in Illinois, which is we have all 4 seasons. It's really cold in the winter. It's cold in the fall. The spring, it's still chilly. And I've wondered my whole life, why do I feel more unmotivated or sad during this time of the year? And it literally has to do with the weather. And the seasons changing, which is insane, which I didn't even know. I was like, oh, people get sad around the holidays because whatever, maybe they just think it's cold. I didn't actually know there was a tie to weather and how your body responds. So anyway, back to Google, it says you might feel more tired, less interested in things you normally love, or even struggle to concentrate. So a big part of this has to do with the lack of sunlight, which affects our body's internal clock and levels of serotonin, the chemical that helps regulate mood. Didn't know that. Obviously, it makes sense when you break it down like that. Like sunshine, you need vitamin D. It's really good for our internal clock. That's why they always say whenever you wake up in the morning, you're supposed to step outside or be in sunlight immediately, because it starts our internal clock for the day, which then helps us go to sleep at night, which then helps us get a better sleep, which then helps us have a better mood. Like, it's all a cycle. So if you don't get that sunshine and, that boost of serotonin right in the morning, setting that internal clock right away, then your body is all out of whack. And I didn't even realize that's how seasonal depression works. Like, it's literally like starts with your internal clock. It starts with, lower levels of serotonin, which is caused by sunlight and vitamin D. So just like a little education session, like, it's actually cool to learn how things actually work instead of feeling like, oh, I feel depressed in this time of the year and I don't know why and I don't understand why. So understanding like the science back behind it actually makes me feel not as crazy. So I hope you guys can kind of like relate to that, because you're not crazy. If you have seasonal depression, it is so real and there's a reason for it. So start to do your research. Like, if you're waking up and you're not getting that sunlight or you're not stepping outside, a lot of times in the summer, like, that sunlight will seep through our windows and we can kind of get that natural, like, internal clock reset without even having to step outside. But in the wintertime, we kind of have to go to extra measures to get that vitamin D. So really, like, prioritizing that in the morning, especially in the winter months, even if it's cold and we hate going outside, like, stepping outside and getting that exposure to sunlight is going to help with that mood and setting that internal clock, getting those good vibes going. And then it's also going to help you sleep better at night. Now, it did say this. It's important to remember. This isn't about being lazy or unmotivated. It's a real condition that millions of people deal with. And while it can feel overwhelming, there are ways to manage it. And yeah, again, I think it just goes back to me feeling like I'm crazy. Why am I sad during the winter? I should be happy. It's Christmas, and it's deeper than that. It's actually a real thing. So anyway, now we're going to go on to little segment 2 of the podcast. We're going to talk about ways to cope with seasonal depression. And again, I did my research on this. I have my notes in front of me. This is not stuff that I have come up with on my own. This is stuff I have researched to be able to share with you guys, in case who just wants to sit down and research like how to cope with seasonal depression. Like, hopefully this is an entertaining way to kind of get those tips and implement them into your life, because as I was like learning about this, I was like, oh, I need to make some changes in my routine to hopefully make myself feel better and less depressed, because sometimes you just wake up and you're like, I don't want to get out of bed. And I feel that especially in the winter time. Getting into it, tip number 1 is light therapy. Okay, it says one of the biggest culprits of SAD, which remember is seasonal affective disorder, is reduced sunlight, which is kind of what I just talked about. That's where light therapy comes in. A light therapy box mimics natural light and can boost your mood and energy. Try using it for 20 to 30 minutes in the morning while you're having your coffee or journaling. It's like giving your brain a little wake-up call. I have never tried the Hatch alarm clock, but I've heard so many of my friends say that it's like worked miracles for them. I really think I need to get one. Maybe that should be on my Christmas wish list. But the Hatch alarm clock kind of like is that light that wakes you up in the morning. And I don't know, people have said it's literally worked wonders, because again, it's like setting that internal clock right away. Yeah, I don't really know what a light therapy box is. I need to look it up, and we can both look it up together, because you know what? Let's freaking look it up right now. Let's look up what a light therapy box. Oh, they have them on Amazon. Oh, wow. It's literally like, it looks like a tablet. It looks like an iPad. It's just a light. Okay. So I'm sure a Hatch alarm clock would work. A light therapy box. Again, exposure to light. That's going to help set that internal clock and get things moving, okay? Tip number 2 is stick to a routine, which this is just a good habit to have in general, but especially if you have seasonal depression, this is going to be so important for you. Online, it says it can be tempting to sleep in or stay in bed when it's cold and dark outside. Yes, that is me. Whenever it's like this morning, I woke up and in LA, one reason why I feel like I've had less like seasonal depression in Los Angeles is because we get like the weather's so much nicer and it's brighter and it makes you feel like you're in summertime all the time, which has really, really helped my motivation and my discipline and just how I feel every day. But winter has been getting wonky over the last couple years in LA. Like, it is not the same LA as it used to be. And I woke up this morning and I live on like the 22nd floor of a skyrise, and I felt like I was like immersed in fog. Like, it was so foggy, so gloomy. It's so cold out today. Like, I feel like I'm back in Illinois. So cold. And I immediately like woke up and I'm like, I just want to stay in bed and sleep. And I definitely find myself sleeping later in this time of the year than any other time. Like in the summers, I like wake up, I'm ready to go, I'm get ready to get my workout in. And in the winter, I definitely see a shift. I find myself sleeping a little bit later or having a harder time like getting up at like 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. to like get my workout in. Like, I definitely like am not on my grind as much in the winter time. So sticking to a routine is so important. The part of like waking up and going to bed on a consistent schedule is probably the most important thing, especially whenever we're tying it back to seasonal depression. Like, if we wake up, that's when our clock is being set, we get that sunlight, and then we go to bed at the same time every night. Like, that is going to help our mood every day. And as much as like we want to stay up and watch Christmas movies all night, like every night, at least that's what I want to do, I shouldn't and I can't. So just like sticking to a habit, and it doesn't have to be as intense as your summer habit. Like in the summer, maybe you get up and you work out and you're on a better, like tighter, consistent schedule. It's okay not to have like that tight of like a morning regimen in the wintertime if it's difficult for you. Like, we have to remember like our life is like up and down, like good days, bad days. Like, we just want to do the best we can, and whatever that time period is and what that looks like for you throughout different seasons, like that's all you can do. Just do the best you can. Don't compare yourself to the winter months. If you have seasonal depression, like the wintertime is going to look so much different for you. But setting that seasonal depression routine, that even whenever you're not feeling good, like you have something that you're going to be able to do every day. Again, getting outside, getting that sunlight, going for a little walk, even if it's like you have to bundle up, like it's really good for you. Journaling, really like writing out how you feel. Yeah, a journaling session is huge. I actually just launched my first digital product. It's a mental health journal. It has 365 prompts. So it's meant to be like done for an entire year. You have a page a day, and they're all just different prompts, and they're all around mental health and healing and like just feeling your best in the morning and just being able to like word dump out on a piece of paper. I found that sometimes journaling for me can feel like I open my journal and I don't know what to write about. So what I loved about this concept is like I have a prompt every day that can get my mind going, and I can think about one specific thing. And it feels like less daunting. It's like, oh, I have a surprise prompt today that I'm going to have to write about. And it really does. Journaling has been like a savior for me. Like, I love journaling, like spilling out all my thoughts. It's definitely helped my anxiety and just my mental health as a whole. So I'll link it in the description. It's on my Stan store. It's only $9.99, like literally for an entire year of prompts. Like, that's an entire year of journaling. It's only 2 cents a day. I always say it's like literally 2 cents a day to like put your mind and your health first. And I'm going to be doing it this year. So if you want to start that together, it's digital. It'll be sent straight to your email. You can get yours in the description, but I'm really, really excited about that. And I'm incorporating that into my routine, especially this winter as like the new year starts and all the fun holiday stuff's over. Sometimes January can be hard. It's like getting into that routine, and journaling is definitely going to be a part of that. Another thing that really helps my routine so much is I've been taking the Magic Mind mental performance shots. And I know I've talked about this a lot on this podcast already, but again, I wouldn't be talking about it if it didn't actually make a difference in my life. I've been taking Magic Mind for about a month and a half now, which is really crazy. And the biggest difference I've felt with taking Magic Mind every single day, literally every single morning, it's part of my morning routine, is one, it's so easy to take, but it's really helped my focus. And if you know me, I'm scatterbrained. I have a million things I have to do all the time, and I can never focus on one thing at one time. So this has made a world of a difference. Like, I can take this in place of my morning coffee, which has helped my anxiety so much. And drinking that big cup of coffee with all of that caffeine that makes you feel jittery and anxious, like, no wonder I could never get my work done, because I was like a crazy little jittery bunny. Like, I don't know. But Magic Mind, it's a calm, focused energy. I can take it and I can get my tasks and my work done, and I feel good. What I love about Magic Mind especially is their ingredients. Their ingredients are all organic. And it has organic caffeine, so it's not bad for you. It's not going to give you that like wired feel. Like, on the bottle, it literally says it's for a sharper mind, lower stress, and a calm energy. And for me, being a high stress human, never calm, this is like my best friend. And I want to thank Magic Mind for creating something just literally specific for your mental health and your mental performance. It's really magic. It's magic in a bottle. And I learned something about Magic Mind is that this formula for Magic Mind is doctor validated. They had been working for the perfect formula for over 10 years. So this has been like tested and proven. So that also, as like somebody who's anxious about trying new things and drinking new things, like, knowing that this has been tested for so long and actually has positive benefits, like, you're not like just pouring garbage into your body and, you know, it's marketed like, oh, this is good for you, but it's actually not. Like, we've heard so many brands and companies that are supposed to be good for you come out recently to be terrible for you and have so many bad chemicals for you. Just knowing that the doctors have done their research and this is actually a formula that's actually going to make you feel better and is actually good for your body makes me feel very happy. And that's why I'm definitely going to be continuing taking my Magic Mind shot. So let's take ours together right now. Cheers. So good. So good. I'm going to have everything linked in my description, but with using my code LizBezler20, you can get 48% off your first subscription, which is an insane deal, by the way, or you can get 20% off your first purchase. So make sure to grab yours. Let's start 2025 off strong with good habits, and this is definitely one I'm going to be continuing into 2025. Tip number 3 with how to cope with seasonal depression is to move your body. You know, I've been through so much, like, mentally, like mental illnesses. I've had so many different people recommend different types of therapy or different outlets to cope with, you know, my anxiety and like just my mental health as a whole. And nothing has beat just moving my body. I truly believe movement of your body is the number one healing remedy, like at home remedy. Like, it is literally number one for me. It boosts all your endorphins, that serotonin, everything that you need to feel good and boost your mood. Even if we don't feel like going, it afterwards, even if you like literally set a 10-minute timer and walk on the treadmill, you're going to feel better than you did before. But especially if you break a sweat, if you're sweating out everything. I don't know. There's something magical about it. I swear by it. If you haven't tried to be consistent with movement, do it. Try it. If you're like, oh, I don't like working out, I promise you there's a form of movement that is for everybody, you know, and it doesn't have to be, oh, I have to go to the gym and lift weights. Like, you literally could go play like pickleball, and that is a form of moving your body. So explore that. If you haven't found something that you really like to do with, you know, movement and physical activity, try and be open to different activities and trying it, because I really believe there's something out there for everybody. And just boosting that serotonin and that mood, and just, it's going to help your seasonal depression. And it even says, it told me all the tips of coping with seasonal depression on the internet, and moving your body is tip number 3. It even says if you go on a 10-minute walk outside, you could do yoga at home, even stretching, not even working out, stretching releases endorphins, which can boost that mood. Tip number 4 is prioritize connection. So what does that mean? To me, that means prioritize connection with myself. A lot of times I can feel disconnected with myself. I try to please everybody around. I'm trying to, I have so much work to do and things to do, and I have to show up for everybody else. Sometimes I neglect myself and listening to how I really feel. So that personally for me, like really focusing on my inner connection with myself is super important. It says online it's easy to isolate yourself when you're not feeling great, but reaching out to friends or family or even just for a quick chat can remind you that you're not alone. If it feels too hard, consider joining a support group or talking to a therapist. I've had family members join support groups for different situations in their life, and it has been amazing for them. I know it can sound scary at first, but having a community of people that understand exactly what you're going through can feel so good, and it is really inspiring to be able to be around people that are also working through the same thing you're working through. So I highly recommend finding a support group or just a family member or a friend that is open to talking through, everything that you're feeling with you, because just talking about it can be an outlet. And number 5 is spend time outdoors. It says on here, even if it's cloudy, getting outside during daylight hours can help your body absorb natural light, which is everything with setting our internal clock. It says bundle up, take a walk, or just sit by a window to soak in the light there is. Again, seasonal depression, it's all about not getting sunlight. That's basically what it is. Get sunlight. Whatever that is for you, you can sit by a window, soak in as much as you can. Even if it's cold outside, go outside. Bundle up, put a hat on, put some gloves on. And if you're if you're in Chicago or New York, really bundle up. But going outside, getting that direct sunlight is going to help you, and it's going to help you feel better. And especially during the winter months, like some states feel like they have winter for literally half a year. And that's a long time to feel sad and depressed. So really finding ways to cope with it can be life-changing. And I hate to feel like, people are out there dreading half of their year. Like that's half of your life. Get outside, get some sunlight, start to do things that are going to make you feel better. And it's going to take time. We have to remember that too. It's not just going to be like a snap of the finger, like quick fix. You have to put in the effort to see results long term. So I challenge you, as the new year comes up, prioritize a routine around your seasonal depression. And I hope nothing but sunshine and feeling those endorphins lifted, because we can all get in a slump over the holidays, especially when people are eating and like we're around a lot of people, a lot of traveling. It's like so many factors go into it that also can make us feel even more depressed on top of our seasonal depression. So prioritize yourself, listen to your body, listen to your mind, listen to what your body is saying to you. That's going to be really important during the season of your life. On this article, it even says that seasonal depression is tough, but you are tougher. So true. You're tougher. You can do it. It says every little step you take, whether it's sitting by a window, journaling your thoughts, or reaching out to a friend, adds up. Literally. Progress doesn't have to be perfect, and healing isn't linear, but you are not alone, and there is light, literally and figuratively, on the other side of the season. There's light at the end of the tunnel, which is spring, right? The sun starts to come back out, and we're happy again, and then summer's here, and we're like, oh my gosh. But most of the time, like, the year's pretty chilly, especially if you're not living in like Florida or California or like Texas or Arizona. So do what's best for you. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Reach out to me if you have seasonal depression. Maybe we can chop it up a little bit more, talk about it. But if you have seasonal depression and that's something you've struggled with, I'm here for you. I love you, and you're tough. Remember, you're tougher than seasonal depression, okay? I know seasonal depression's tough, but you're tougher, and you're going to get through it. And I just hope you have the best rest of the year. And just remember, get outside. That's going to make the world of a difference. But I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Mwah. Bye.